all of the health trends, right?
hmm
This is the way you do this, and that is it, and it works for everyone, and that is never true.
It's not self-trust in that I trust me and no one else. It's
No, it's
not
not.
me
It's about
against the world.
self-empowerment.
Hello and welcome to Sunflower Philosophy Podcast. My name is Juliana, and this is,
DC?
and we are board certified hypnotists with the NGH, and we help people overcome challenges. We help people live the lives that they want to live. And on this podcast, we talk about various topics from like spiritual concepts to personal growth to just philosophizing about things that we want to talk about, things that we want to dig into. And today, DC is going to introduce our topic.
Yes, I will. Thank you for joining us. And I just want to say if you're interested in learning more about us and our services, you can go to sunflowerphilosophy.com. And
All links will be in our description.
great. Thank you. So, yeah. So we are recording this in February of 2026. And the concept of oneself, trusting one's own inner authority above all else has been a theme for me for a while. And I thought now more than ever, it is probably a really important discussion that we could have about trusting yourself first, trusting your own inner authority, not looking for authority figures or gurus or leaders or anyone of any sort to tell you what to do, to make your decisions, um, to tell you how it is, to tell you how you should think,
hmm
how you should feel, how you should vote, all that kind of stuff,
hmm
right? I think now more than ever, and just knowing current events, I don't think anyone would even dispute that now more than ever, it's really important to really put your faith in yourself to be able to make your own decisions.
Okay, so our topic of the day is trusting yourself.
Trusting yourself, no more gurus, no more idols, no more hero worship. Having said that, I will back up and say I feel like in your own personal individual life, you might actually know people who are heroes in the community, right? Maybe there's that woman who's been, feeding people in the homeless shelter like her whole life and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with admiring that and looking up to something like that. What I'm really talking about is how there's so much faith in these big famous leaders and people that are idolized and made gurus, and this person will save us and this person will make everything better for us, and that's just not true.
Well, what I'm hearing when you like I guess added that bit about, individuals, maybe doing heroic things. I feel like you're making the distinction between recognizing heroic acts and
Yes,
admiring them and taking inspiration from them versus worshiping someone as a hero and putting them in a place of authority and putting all of your trust and like energy into them.
I love when you can really like clarify my own thoughts for me, and that's where like the whole interaction of between people and conversation like that is just great, because that's exactly what I'm getting at. Right, exactly. You can admire someone for heroic acts, but don't put individuals on pedestals,
Mhm.
because they will inevitably fall from them, because we're all human, and um that does not excuse a lot of the horror that has been coming out of late. But if you put a human being on a pedestal, they'll inevitably let you down.
Well, yeah, and there's obviously uh, that can happen even on a smaller scale. Like, that
Absolutely,
can
right,
happen
right.
when it comes to trusting, someone on YouTube or your favorite influencer or even someone in your community, they might have some ideas or pieces of advice or ways that they live their lives that really inspire you and work for you and are for you, and then they might have other things that work for them but don't work for you. And if you can trust yourself to make your own decisions, then you can pick and choose what pieces of advice you take,
Right.
what pieces of wisdom that you act on and that you take into yourself, and question anything that doesn't really fit with what feels right for you.
Yeah, I think there can be.
Getting out of like even just the big scale, like not being able to trust people, but also bringing it down to a very personal level where it's maybe more neutral, even
Right, right,
when it comes
right.
to more neutral things, like someone being into something that like that's like maybe a health trend that actually does work for them but
Mhm.
doesn't work for you.
Doesn't work, right,
Yeah.
right. Doesn't work for everyone.
Hmm.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. I love the health trends, right?
Hmm.
This is the way you do this, and that is it, and it works for everyone, and that is never true.
Yeah.
We are completely unique individuals, and nothing is ever for everyone. It just isn't. Yeah. Um, and the thing is, you touched on this, I think, where there might be someone out there who has some valuable advice for you and what have you. But that doesn't mean that you have to believe everything that person says. That doesn't mean you have to go along with everything that person believes. That doesn't mean that everything that person advises is right for everyone or for you.
It
You
doesn't mean you
know,
have to support that person.
no,
Doesn't mean you
no.
have to ride or die.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Um and I think there has been a lot of that going on for a while now with the
Hmm.
whole, influencer culture or whatever you would call it. Because I don't want
Influencer culture, celebrity
culture.
culture.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. Oh my
yeah.
God. I've never been a fangirl.
And it's always been a double-edged sword of people being obsessed to the point or invested to the point where they maybe they only see this person in one way, put them on a pedestal, trust everything that they say, are invested in the story of the person that they perceive. But then there's always the other side of the people who are invested in tearing that person down, seeing the worst in that person.
Right,
There's always that double-edged sword. And it can be hard to sort through all that noise at times and determine what you feel, like what's your intuition actually telling you about this person, like what are the things that you resonate with, what are the things that you don't. And in some extreme cases that we're and maybe even more than we know, we're finding out the whole system, the whole structure itself might not be what you initially think. And can you take that in and process that when maybe you believed in someone and believed someone was someone that they turn out not to be.
right, exactly. And now I do want to also point out that here you and I are talking um on a podcast that people are watching and listening to us, and by no means, and I think I can speak for both of us when I say this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but by no means do either one of us want to be anyone's guru or go-to person for everything, because while we might say some things that resonate with you or some things that don't, nothing is 100%. And as hypnotists, now I've heard some hypnotists say they like to keep people reliant on them for returning clients, but most hypnotists I that I have encountered, which have been many,
Mhm.
um, you know, our goal is to help you help yourself and get you on your way.
Yeah, help you resolve whatever it is that
Right.
you're looking to resolve.
I don't want anyone to be reliant on me for their well-being, for their alignment. I want clients to leave me feeling self-empowered
Hmm.
and ready to, and
Yeah,
again, they can come back for other issues or for, like a reset. There's nothing wrong with that. But
like
I'm not here to be anyone's.
I f
guru or hero or
yeah, exactly, same, and I feel like our we both align on the fact that, like, our ideal type of relationship with not just, like, between, like, a hypnotist and a client or, like, a doctor and a patient or anything like that, in our lives personally, but also in, like, the greater world, like, our my ideal concept of that kind of, like, of of being able to rely on and trust others for help, but also to rely on and trust myself as well, is a system where people exist with certain skills and backgrounds and ideas and are there to offer help, offer advice where it's needed, where it's asked for, where it's necessary, where someone aligns with another person and it fits and it works and you can address a certain situation, but never making I'm not, like, phrasing this in the way that I want to, but, like, not making one person or certain people, like, the blanket go to solve it all for me, solve it all for like, because that's not good for them or for the people coming to them, you know? Because when you're building someone up like that, first of all, some people could take that could become a very big ego trip. And
well, and we know
that
lots of people are on them.
and some people actively try to cultivate that because they're really invested in that, and some people it might sneak up on them a bit. But
Sure.
for others, it also but also for the people who are reliant on that person, there's no foundation of autonomy, you
Right.
know?
Right.
You're not building your own foundation of self-reliance, you know? And when that person inevitably fails or takes advantage or is no longer there, you know, who are you gonna rely on? What are you gonna rely on?
Exactly.
It's you need to have the balance of being able to, yes, work with other people, develop a community, develop trust, and not live in fear and paranoia of everyone, but have such a strong core of trust in your own inner authority and yourself that you are able to find that balance.
Mhm.
Find that balance where you can trust yourself and you're not constantly in fear of either what people are going to do to you or being at like the mercy of other people or feeling like you can only get your help from one place, one person. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like I said that in a really disorganized way. So I hope it made sense. But it's
Well,
about balance, I guess. It's about balance. It's not about like
oh, it's not about distrusting
distrusting
everyone.
everyone, living in fear and
It's about
paranoia.
trusting yourself to know whom you can trust
And yeah,
depending on the
who
situation.
feel and depending on the situation, right?
Well, I mean, that's why I like human design for that very fact that it's all about learning to trust your individual inner authority and not looking to other people to make your decisions for you, to tell you what to do, to tell you how to live.
Mhm.
And I think my generation more than yours was brought up to trust in authority figures and respect, trust, look up to, don't question
Mhm.
authority, right? So a lot of people in, my generation and older and maybe even a little younger, have some deconditioning to do, right? Have some subconscious beliefs that we may not even be consciously aware of that, have made us maybe trust leaders and authority figures more than we ever should have
Mm.
because really you have to really trust your own inner authority, your own intuition, your gut feeling. um Everyone has a different process, but that is what I like about human design. It's about the individual.
And when you are as you were saying, you were brought up to really believe in respecting authority and um I don't remember if we had discussed this before we had if you had touched on this now, but, because we had briefly talked about some of this before, but you, uh, were brought up to believe that, like, questioning authority was disrespect.
Yes,
Like,
that's
asking
true.
questions, saying, "Hey, I don't that doesn't feel right to me. What?"
And then it makes you uncomfortable
Yeah.
questioning authority. And for some people, I think as like even a child in school, well, asking questions, you get this message not to question authority. You don't even want to ask questions in the classroom.
And then when someone questions you, it can feel like a personal attack because 'cause you're kind of conditioned to believe that
Yes.
questioning is a personal attack against someone
Yes.
else and against you.
Mhm.
And and it goes both ways, and we can all experience this to varying degrees, and I definitely feel like my maybe not I don't know if my whole generation, but I definitely feel I was brought up with a little bit less of that respect authority, but there was still some in there that was still around in the
It
ethers,
is. Yes.
in the zeitgeist, I guess. And so I feel like I was from a pretty early age not super trusting in authority or the world around me, but that didn't doesn't mean that I knew how to trust myself and had the tools to do that and always felt confident in my own authority, right? That doesn't mean that I never felt uh like I was helpless to someone else's authority or I just had to go along with things. But I definitely had much more of the questioner in me, and I feel like, and maybe you and dad have like a bit of a different perspective on this, but I feel like growing up as a child, that was why that Taylor, my sister, and I we were always talking back, you know what I mean? We were always like I feel like there were times where you and dad weren't like hugely authoritarian parents. It wasn't like you were like don't question us or whatever. But there were times when you might have made jokes or you might have said things like, "Hey, why can't you just do what I say? Why are you talking back like that?" But it was
That sounds like dad, actually.
and it probably yeah, and for you guys, like, you would say things like, "Oh,
But
I did that when I was a kid."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
But but I feel like I never really lost that propensity to question and to talk back and maybe yes, maybe be a bit of a contrarian, but I feel like from a young age that was my staking of my authority. That was me trying to
Yes.
stand up for myself. Doesn't mean I always understood like the greater context of the situation, but I feel like that was the impulse that it came from,
Yeah.
was this I it was in me to question authority, to not just take things at face value. And and I feel like I never really lost that, but what I have had to work on and to gain was then a an ability to trust myself and to learn trust in a new way so that I wasn't constantly feeling like I was coming up against coming up against the rest of the world, like the rest of the world was against me, or like the rest of the world could not, or like I was at the mercy of the rest of the world, and even if I was not trusting it, I was also like, well, now who do I trust? Who do I turn to? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I was so polarized to the idea of
Mhm.
authority, right? And like like there was like a knowing that I was supposed to be independent and I was supposed to have a sense of autonomy and that was healthy and good. And no matter how good a parent's relationship is with their child, the it's usually a natural and healthy developmental stage for a child to go through where they like the teenage stage where like they push back against their parents and they want to rebel. It's like part of developing your own sense of autonomy and identity, and like that's normal and natural and fine, and feel like that can be pathologized or people can see that as disrespect when what it is a natural developmental phase of someone who's coming into their own as a person. But like I feel like as a society we're kind of going through that where we're like, oh, on a grander scale we have to question these things and really learn how to be our own person, and our society also has to change and grow up because of that.
Mhm.
And we have to find our way through not just the reckoning and the questioning and the pushing back and the fighting and the this is wrong and bad and I don't agree with this. I'm not getting behind this. I'm not supporting this anymore and we have to get through all of that and we also have to get to a place of and I have power. I have authority. I can do something about this. I can stand in my own power. I'm taking that power for myself in my own life and I'm using it to create a world, to make my life the way I want it to be, to make the world the way I want it to be for myself. And recognizing that everyone else also is supposed to have that power and that one person having that power does not take away that power from someone else because the kind of power we're talking about comes from within and you can't like you could try to take that away from someone, but if someone knows that they have that, you can't take that away from them. They can't take that away from you. So there's no push and pull. There's nothing to fight against. There's no, you know, uh, there's no need for someone to like tell you what to do and enforce that and just say I know best and don't question that because you're you've learned
Mhm.
what's best for you. You've learned to trust yourself. You've learned to grow up and be that adult. Like I honestly feel like our society is leading us to all become adults. Like, we're going through that phase on like a grand scale. And when I say adult, I mean like someone who is fully autonomous and has their own say and doesn't and we've all been that, but like we haven't been taught that, you know what I mean?
Well, going back to human design, right? According to human design, we are moving from the age of planning with, structure, top-down authority, systems and institutions, moving into the eight from that into the age of the individual. And
Mhm.
so it's February 2026 right now, and we will like officially be locked into that new age in February of 2027. But leading up to that, the next 400, I think it's 400 and like 15-ish year cycle. Don't quote me on that. But leading into that new cycle, we do see everything, systems and institutions falling apart and the top down authority, people realizing we can't trust people. We can't just put our blind trust in people. It's not that
Mhm.
we can't trust other
Mhm.
people ever, right?
Mhm.
It's more like you can't just put your blind trust and faith in an institution and in people who get corrupted with power and all of that kind of stuff. So, and that's why human design is all about trusting your inner authority, basically getting you ready for this change.
Mhm.
And I think it's more important now, than it has ever been, for us to learn how to trust ourselves and question and um but you did touch on something saying that when you were young you did feel like you were questioning and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff, and I think we're all born like that, and before we get conditioned, there, obviously there's always conditioning around you, but before you continue for year upon year upon year to get deeply conditioned as a young child, you do have the tendency to exist be in touch with your inner authority,
Mhm.
because as a very young child I questioned a lot of things. I didn't automatically follow what my parents, I didn't automatically follow their religious beliefs. Um I questioned a lot of that, and of course that was not necessarily welcome. And I don't mean in a harsh way or anything like that, but they just had their beliefs that they had their religious beliefs that were really important to them, and they, I don't think, could understand why I would question that, why I
Mhm.
wouldn't just automatically have faith. But then again, I am now one generation closer to that shift
Mhm.
from that top down structure and the age of the individuals, right?
Mhm.
Individual. So, or maybe it's not even really one generation because it's kind of the way they label them these days. But, just like you are, closer to that than I was.
Mhm.
So, um, I think there's something to be said for that. And, someone, my age or older, and maybe even a little younger, we were immersed in that whole idea of, trusting authority and putting your trust and faith in institutions and the leaders and authorities, and doctors and teachers and politicians and all of these people who, you were just supposed to automatically respect and not question. And I think it's obvious from the things that have been going on for a very long time now, but the things that are really just being torn open at this point, that that is not healthy.
Yeah.
It, and it's time
And
to learn to trust your inner authority.
and it's time for us to find and learn how what a healthy system could look like. What healthy trust looks like for us, and
Mm,
self-trust and trust in others. And I I feel like there is an element of this that we might not fully understand yet, and we have to go through it,
true.
and we have to learn it, and we have to be okay with the uncertainty of where that's going to lead, because we have no choice. I mean, it's just going to happen
We have
either
no
way.
choice.
So if we can let go of the preconceptions about the way things are supposed to be or the way things were, and accept the uncertainty of where things are going, then we it opens us up for something new. And I feel like a lot of people, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are ready for something new. A lot of people really want something new.
Yeah, I
A lot of
mean,
people have wanted it for a while, and then a lot of people are also
are
opening up
on board
to,
now, right?
yeah, a much are much more, yeah, much more on board with, something's not been working, let's do
Yeah.
something new. And maybe that's where I feel like, I can't speak for my whole generation, but for me growing up, there's I maybe that's where some of that uh distrust of the society came from, was this, maybe there was a sense and inherent knowing, maybe spiritually speaking, there was a plan that we came in with. I don't know. Uh but this knowledge that, things were going to be dismantled, things weren't to be trusted. That was also, perhaps it could have also just been natural response to the things I saw going on around me that were much more maybe in my face, things
Hmm.
that I was allowed to learn in school that you weren't, that, you know,
True, right.
and that all culminating in this idea that has always been with me, that something's not right about the systems.
Hmm.
Something's not right. Something needs to change. And it's just now that I feel like everything is getting, everyone, more and more people are seeing that and really feeling that and really being
Yeah.
invested in that.
And I agree with all of that. But one key thing that you actually said, you were saying maybe it's this way, maybe it's that way. I don't know.
Mhm.
And I think that's a really key there, right?
Mm.
Juliana is not saying, I know this is how it is. And there are so many people out there, the quote unquote influencers and whatever, they're telling you that they know that this is how it is, and this is how you should do this, and this is how you should eat, this is how you should think. This is so there and I think that so many people now are really, really coming to the realization that they should not be just blindly following the beliefs and instructions and what have you of other people. So and listen, you and I might have conversations, whether it's, personally or on the podcast, where we might have a strong belief in something, and
Mhm.
we might state it like that, like, oh well, this is what, but I don't want anyone out there to blindly follow my beliefs either. You experiment with it for yourself. I mean, like
Yeah.
when I talked about human design, it's an experiment. It's not a belief system, right? Whatever, just because I say something, for example, that works for me or that I believe in, you know, you see how that resonates with you. I'm not asking anyone to blindly follow me or believe what I say.
Mhm.
I might tell you, "Oh, this worked for me. This is my experience." If it resonates with you, great. You can experiment with it yourself. And if it doesn't, just leave it be, you know?
I'm glad you said that because it can be really uncomfortable to sit in uncertainty, which I feel like
Yeah.
is required of people when they're developing self-trust and they're maybe disconnecting from blind trust or like extreme trust of certain things or realizing that something that once resonated with them doesn't resonate anymore. Like sitting with that uncertainty can be very uncomfortable and a lot of people are familiar with that experience.
You're 100% right.
But you can get to a place where you become more comfortable with it and develop your own ways of settling your body and mind when that comes up, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Uh,
Going through the human design experiment can be extremely uncomfortable in the sense that once you start to live more true to yourself and who you were like born to be, and you are following your own inner authority, there can be people around you who are used to you being a different way, and it can make things uncomfortable for other people or for you. So it's not even though it's empowering, it's not always like
and that's
that
where
comfortable.
often discomfort I've um been learning to like define certain experiences for myself. So when I'm experiencing discomfort, I often, no matter like I might, want to address it, look into it, see where it's coming from, is it emotional, physical, whatever, and do something about it if I can, if I need to, whatever. But I also like to define the experience, if I have to define it at all, as an experience that signifies growth and moving in a positive direction. Not that but I also don't polarize it. I don't see comfort as the opposite of that. I also see that as growth and positivity and like a good a good thing as well. But I'm like redefining my relationship with discomfort in particular because my relationship with discomfort was a lot more polarized in the past to be about, "Oh, am I regressing? Is this bad? Is this, do I need to just get away from this?" It's like, not always, Sometimes it's the impetus for growth. Sometimes it's the sign of growth. Sometimes it's your system reconstituting itself to a new pathway that's actually going to be more optimal for you.
Hmm.
But it's easier to, I feel like, align with that potential if you can redefine your relationship with that experience
Mm.
and see it as something positive inherently, and then you find the positive aspects of it and you find the positive direction, the direction that you want to go in. And by positive I just mean like whatever feels like it's where you want to go, where you want to be, who you want to be, like how you what and in the moment, it doesn't have to be all about where you're going, but it can be about where you are in the moment. What's the most empowering way you can define where you are, even if it feels uncomfortable?
Well, yeah. I mean, all we have is this moment,
Mhm.
right? That's all we have. And and I think that again now more than ever, we have no choice but to learn to be comfortable with uncertainty,
Mhm.
right? And as the horror show continues to unfold and we hold people accountable, we also have to deal with our own inner way of getting through it and dealing with the experience. And I mean, the best thing, I think, again, I think, but in my opinion, the best thing an individual can do to help the collective is to get in alignment with their own inner authority and learn how to trust themselves and feel self-empowered and not and feel learn how to feel more confident in their own inner authority and not need the systems, structures, authority figures, and all that to be there for them or to be able to turn to them and stuff. And I mean,
And
as someone who's, yeah, again, older than you are, you know, those systems and structures and stuff like that, they've always been there for, like my parents and grandparents and whatever, or as far as I can remember, in
mhm.
my lifetime. And
But they
it's
haven't
it's
always been
unsettling.
there. Yeah.
No, they haven't.
Well,
That's true. They haven't always
as
been
far
there.
as, like, our understanding of history.
Right, exactly. Like these exact structures haven't always been there, but in my
Mhm,
lifetime they have,
mhm,
and it can be really, really unsettling. Aside from the horrors that are being revealed, there's also the aspect of the people feeling unsettled by the crumbling of the systems and all that,
mhm.
and I understand that. So even
Oh,
though
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
am all about like helping people feel self-empowered and also feeling self-empowered myself, I totally understand the fears and the uncertainty and
Doesn't mean it's always gonna be fun, comfortable,
no.
empowering, and you might be dealing with feelings of, well, honestly, feelings of disempowerment are probably feelings that a lot of people have dealt with already, but it's like it might become stronger because
Mm,
what you perceived as something that gave you power or validation or gave you a safety net is
mhm. Yeah,
disappearing.
right. Right. It's like, pulling the rug out from under you.
Mhm. And that doesn't it's there are a lot of things that will and this is the nature of life. This is the nature of existence and living. Change, shifting,
Change is inevitable.
it's
They
it's
say taxes and death are certain, and so is change.
there may be things that have happened or things that we've heard about in history that we weren't there for unless, we have past lives that we believe in and have gone back and experienced. But there have been things in history that have happened that might feel similar. But we're always living in unprecedented times. Times are always unprecedented. There's always nothing's fully precedented. We might have stories that where the version of the story that we were told aligns us with a certain version of what's happening now. But I feel like we have to believe that things can be unprecedented in order to then create something new
Mhm.
because what's precedented is not necessarily what we want.
Exactly, exactly. I think
Yeah.
I think that's like, this just like to put it mildly, this rude awakening is kind of like, oh, we don't want things to go back to the way they were because they were never what we thought they were,
Mhm.
you know? I mean, you always know that there's corruption here and there's bad people there, but like to see it on the scale that it is now is like, oh wow.
It's like you've always known it. I mean, maybe not everyone feels like that, but
Yeah, no, not yeah,
there's a degree to which some people might feel like they've always known it, but might not have always had it so forcefully
I,
in your face.
I mean, I guess and for me it's the scale.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just incomprehensible to me. You know what I mean? And we are. I mean, like this comes down to right now for like personal spiritual experiences, right? What I'm about to say,
Mhm.
but what when I say like to like to trust yourself and to be and feel self-empowered and such, I do feel like when people can get in that kind of inner alignment,
Mm.
that affects the collective,
Mm.
right? We
Mm.
all have frequency, right? We know that. We know that we are energy, right? And so we are projecting this energy out there. And the more people that can get themselves their inner alignment uh to a place of feeling self-empowered and comfortable in their own skin.
Mhm.
You might not be comfortable with the what you're witnessing on the outside, but if you can get comfortable within your own skin, you are adding positive energy to the collective. I hope I'm
Mhm.
making sense. I know you probably know what I'm getting at,
Yeah,
but
I do.
I hope other people understand what I'm getting at.
Well,
That the best thing you can do is get in alignment with yourself. I mean, not I'm not saying it's not a challenge,
mhm.
but
And
it can be done.
I feel like it's a journey. It can be a journey just like anything else, but also it can be a moment to moment thing. I don't, there's no, it's not about always being sunshine and rainbows, but I feel like you can go through lots of different intense emotions and still be in alignment and still have a certain alignment with the experience that you're having and acceptance and a willingness to work with it, work through it, move through it.
Mhm.
So it's it's finding out what that means for you, what that feels like for you, what alignment means for you, what alignment feels like for you. But I feel like at the core, there's going to be this feeling like there's like you're sitting on a solid foundation. There's some part of you that you've connected with. There's
I
some part of you that you have
I like that.
access to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
giving yourself a solid foundation, right? We
Mhm.
talked about the rug being ripped out from under us, right? Um, Creating a solid foundation for yourself that starts inside,
Mhm.
right? And I think that the more people can get in alignment, trust themselves, create that inner foundation, the easier it is for us to then outwardly work together in the physical realm.
Yes. Right. Like you were talking about, because we've been talking a lot about self-trust and individuality, and you were talking about, in human design there's the concept of, us moving into the age of the individual, and I feel that whether you know about human design or investigate it or not, I feel like there's a lot of we could see that playing out in society, this idea of us moving into more individualism and not being as trusting in structures and everything that we've talked about. But what you just said, I feel like brings us all back around to a very important point that I don't feel like the age of the individual or individualism itself means that it's every man for himself, it's every person for themselves, and we're all just,
It definitely doesn't
we're all
have
just in our
to.
own little bubbles, right?
No.
What it is to me, what healthy individualism means to me, what really stepping into this and embodying like your full individual power means to me is it means that it means it's the paradox of like the stronger you are as an individual, the more connected you are with yourself as an individual, the more connected you are with the community as a whole, with the more at one you are with yourself, the more at one you are with everything,
Exactly,
with everyone,
exactly.
Yeah. And then yes, we flow and work together because we're being who we are. We're truly embracing who we are and
Mhm.
being that, and that, and we are who and we're part of this like whole system of the universe, and we're exactly who we're meant to be. We're exactly how we're meant to be. And so like we can't not be part of that. We can't not fit into that. And so yeah, it's not about disengaging yourself from everything and everyone, and like, "Oh, we're just gonna be we're all gonna be living in our little bubble, and we're not gonna be caring about other people, interacting with other people." No.
Well, yeah, there's actually, a balance, right?
Mhm.
Working on your inner alignment, right? Getting in touch with who you are on the inside, and then being in alignment and sharing it out there with
Mhm.
other people. I mean, I know from my own experience, this is from my experience, that when I'm in alignment and I feel empowered and I'm trusting myself and I'm vibing high, it affects the people around me.
Mhm.
And I've even had other people notice that. And it so think about if one person can maybe, one person's high vibe can affect like a room full of people. Think about if that entire room full of people got into alignment and created that strong inner foundation, trusted their own inner authority, trusted themselves, felt in alignment, felt empowered, right?
Mhm.
And and now they're out there in the world with other people in other rooms and all of that. Like everyone can raise the frequency, the global frequency. Um,
Yeah. And that just is, it's one step at a time, and it's it's honestly, I mean, whatever that means to you or looks like for you, there's so many different ways to explore that and avenues to take to, raise your frequency or live in more alignment, or find out what that even means and feels like for you.
right, right.
And yeah, and so it's really just having the intention to do that, and then and that intention could look like the intention to care for yourself, the intention to find more room for enjoyment, fun, love in your life, to work through things that you feel have been getting in the way of that, and to also give yourself the love and compassion that you might need to address things that you've been avoiding to
Mhm.
addressing, because that's part of taking care of yourself and part of taking care of, the part of taking care of the world, I guess, because I feel like when you take good care of yourself, that's part of taking care of the world.
Right, it's kinda like, you're on a plane and you're with a child, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, because if you don't, you will be of no use to your child or anyone else around you.
True
So
that.
it really is about, putting your own well-being first. And, I believe that it starts with that inner well-being.
Mhm.
It starts with the inside and affects the outside.
And putting your own well-being first is not inherently selfish, and it doesn't
No,
have to mean that
at the
you are
expense of somebody else.
that it's at the expense of someone
Not at
else.
all. Not at
Yeah.
all. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was like, oh
No, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I
No,
know
but
where you're going with that.
you knew where, yeah,
I did. Yeah,
we were on the same page.
yeah, yeah. It's not at the expense of anyone else.
Mhm.
Like, eh, you know,
Yeah. It's not self-trust in that I trust me and no one else. It's
no, it's
not
not.
me
It's about
against the
self
world.
empowerment.
It's about I'm empowered, and how that helps you feel more like you can trust in life and yourself more because you feel just more aligned with the people around you, what's going on around you. You bring in that energy, those people, those experiences that align with you.
I mean, I'd be willing to bet that if most people out there thought about it, they could think of a time when there maybe was a choice to be made and they went along with someone else's opinion. And even though it's not that, I'm not saying they went along with their opinion, they were fine with it. It was more like, didn't feel right. Yeah, no, I don't think that feels right. But that person's probably right.
Mm,
I'll do that. I mean, I could think of a myriad of even just small everyday um examples of somebody saying, "Oh no, you should do that, or you should buy that, or oh yeah, you think so? Oh, okay," and not really feeling it or not feeling sure about
mhm,
it and doing it and saying, "Why didn't I just listen to myself? I knew that wasn't right." I
mhm,
mean, yeah, and that's what we're talking about,
mhm,
right? Being able to put your trust in your body. It's basically what your body. You're
mhm.
putting your trust in how you feel, and it's different for everyone. But you might be trusting your gut, for example. Yeah,
Yeah.
and some people are designed. If you're talking about human design, some people are designed to uh, know it in the moment, and other people are designed to take time to make their decisions. And also like that. That's why, I mean, this is a little off topic, but I can't stand the culture of rushing people. If you don't act now, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, which is it's like a marketing
Yeah,
tactic, a
it's a marketing
manipulative.
tactic, and
Yeah.
I never like that. If you don't act now, you will miss this opportunity forever. And I
When
mean,
you get your opportunities from the universe, you don't have to just rely on someone's manipulation to force you to act now. You can just trust that whatever's meant for you will come back around.
exactly, that's the thing. If your gut is telling you, or whatever is part of your body is telling you, don't act now, then don't let someone manipulate your mind to thinking that you need to act now if your body is saying no.
And I feel like you can get to a place where even if you realize, what, I actually think I really did want to act on that thing, but I didn't because I wasn't sure, or like I didn't trust myself. You can also let it go and say, well, it'll come back around.
Yeah.
What I need will come to me.
Yes.
And there's less urgency and less force behind that.
Yes. Yes.
There's just
Definitely.
allowing. Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's where, again, that's where the empowerment comes from, not feeling like you're reliant on something existing outside of you that you have no control over.
Yes.
And that all. Oh, do you have something to add?
No, and I was actually going to say, like, even though I, have entered my 8th year in human design, I still have those moments where, somebody gives their opinion, and I'm like, oh, that's not really what I was feeling, but oh, so like, it's not like you never experience that again, but it's really trusting. Wait a minute, you know,
And when you say your 8th year in human design, what you mean is, like,
I've been
you've
experimenting
been
with it.
experimenting with it, which is a thing that, like, it's like every, like 7
The 7-year
years
cycle.
is like, you're supposed to, like, experiment with it for 7 years and see how it works for
Well, I mean,
you. Well, you don't
you're
have
not
to.
supposed to do
No, but, like,
anything,
it's the
but
idea that if you've been
well,
experimenting with it for 7 years, you'll probably notice a difference in, like, and they call it, like, you're deconditioning, so you're, like, unlearning programs and patterns that are not aligned with who you really are.
yes,
Yeah.
but what I will say is like a 7-year cycle of like the body changing completely over the course of 7 years, right? So,
Yeah, which is, like, a biological concept.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. But I will say that you notice change before 7 years. It's not like you experiment with it for 7 years and then all of a sudden, oh wow, it's a gradual thing.
Yeah.
You start recognizing, oh yeah, look at me.
And you can take that outside of the context of human design into just your own experimenting with your own life and just
You
being who you are, and being a trust learning to trust yourself more.
Yes, human design is not required for deconditioning and reconditioning or whatever. But
Right? Which,
awareness is.
yeah, awareness of who you are and what you feel, and
Hmm. Tapping
learning
into the way your body feels about
and
things.
and learning and understanding that you might not know all the time, but that's part of the
Exactly.
process. You learn it.
That's the human experience, right?
Yeah.
But we do want to encourage everyone to trust yourself and put your own inner knowing above that of authority figures, leaders, gurus, and what have you. You know what's best for you.
And with that, I feel like we're probably winding down
I think
now.
so. I think so.
I don't know that I have anything else to add. So, do you have anything else?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
All right, so then we'll be closing out this episode now. So thank you so much for listening this far. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to look into our services, actually, I think you mentioned earlier that we offer hypnosis
I
services
actually,
on our
yeah,
website.
I didn't go into details,
Oh
but
yeah, so we offer hypnosis services and tarot, and also you can get a human design reading. I believe that's still up there, right? So
yeah,
um
I do readings, but I do actually like to use it as a tool to work with clients,
mhm,
even more so than a reading. Like a reading would be part of it.
true,
If
yeah.
I'm working over multiple sessions with someone, then like it becomes like a reading becomes like throughout.
Yeah.
But
So
I'll do individual readings
you
too.
could check out our website. You can check out our like, comment, subscribe on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you listen to our podcast. That would be amazing. Also, if you're interested in tarot readings, we do have a tarot channel, which is mostly me. I'm the one who's mostly doing the readings on there. And there's pick a card readings. There's shorts and stuff. So if you're interested in that, Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. And if you want to email us, if you have any questions, you can contact us at info@sunflowerphilosophy.com. All of our information is in the description, so that's all down there if you want to check it out. And thank you again for listening. We're going to see you in another episode soon.
Bye for now.